All right, the controversial Bonds of Weakness change that we discussed in Saturday's video is being rolled back. And in that video, I asked people to type up comments in the comment section, and I forwarded that to the developers this morning. And whether it was those comments or other comments from other game changers or Reddit, I believe it was a collective group where they listed the entire community, not only me and other game changers, but individual posts like in the comment section of my video, the forums, and Reddit. And the result was that we got a rollback of Friday's Bonds of Weakness change. Now, I have played several mobile games. This is not the first mobile game that I've covered on this channel, and it will not be the last. And I've got to give credit to where credit's due that they're doing the right thing here, and I'm really happy with the post and how it was worded. I'm going to read it. I'm going to let them speak, and then I'll have some comments and some thoughts about this. So I want to let you know that we are going to be reverting the Bonds of Weakness changes from last Friday today. I also wanted to explain why we're doing it and reveal a little bit more insight into his decision to make the change at that time in the first place. But first, I'll underline that it was the wrong call. That's pretty big of him to say that. Actually, this is someone that I've met in person several times. What we should have done is announced that a change was forthcoming and spent a few days designing and testing the change. We should have then announced it to you, the community, what the change was before we implemented it. It can be done easy in the face of a wrong call to dig in and try to defend your rationale in the first place, but it would be the wrong thing for the game, and we are, like you, first and foremost fans of the game. I'm actually really glad they said that, because that is the main reason why I make videos for this game. I made 100 or so videos about this game before even getting involved with this Game Changers program. I did that because I loved the game first. So what I'm asking for your faith that even though we maybe make the wrong decision from time to time, if they are really wrong, we will correct it. Fair enough. We will be rolling back the Bonds of Weakness change because the battle system has a bug in it, which prevents us from recalculating max health as it changes and consequently throwing the health percentages correctly. So basically, the changes that they were trying to implement didn't work, and then based on the community feedback, they decided it was the wrong change because at the end of the day, it really penalized people that were about to be able to complete the Sith raid the most. So we're talking about people in guilds that are under 120, under 130 million that had been investing in Nightsister. It drastically impacted their investment. And not necessarily the guilds that were already doing it and already had Trey, which caused this fix. So that's a good thing. This sort of calculation is not being done elsewhere in the game, only affects this updated version of Bonds of Weakness. This is a client bug that requires an update to the client, which is some ways out. More importantly, beyond the length of time it would take to get the fix out is also probably not the right fix. Let me explain. As a general rule, when we discover an infinite loop that allows players to trivialize in-game content, we try to act as swiftly as possible. And I also give them credit. They said this before. They said this very early when they nerfed Stormtrooper Han. And so this is a policy that was known, and I have to say that the changes that came in on Friday were predictable, even though they were the wrong changes, but I think they were trying to do the right thing. They don't want loops. One of our internal goals is to try to avoid changing character kits in a negative way as well. That's right, nerfs feel bad, believe me. I've seen nerfs in other games, and it's a terrible feeling. And so they try not to nerf. They try to nerf mechanics or the raid, but not a character in particular. This doesn't always work out that way, but it's a guiding principle. So they can nerf a character is what they're saying, but I don't think they've ever done it. Working as attended bug fixes, Zeta Barris, that's one instance. In this instance, the key element was that enabling the loop is Asajj Ventress, and by extension, her synergies with the Nightsister. Darkrai is a part of that loop with their health steal up, but we reproduced a similar team using Kira, so it just wasn't Asajj. So really the problem is Asajj and Nightsister with health steal up mechanics. In triaging the problem, rather than change Asajj and potentially alter the entire Nightsister faction, because that is the best faction for Phase 4, people have dumped tons of money into it. We want to see if we could change the context where they were facilitating an infinite loop and still leave them really good in the raid, although that's questionable. and leave them unchanged everywhere else. I cut the damage back 40-50% from what I could see. This is where we fell down. Our definition really good, especially on the back of a breakneck change is not the same as your definition. Fair enough. That's what I just said. Their definition is different than my definition. They were actually still really good in the raid, but that's besides the point. On top of the fix, it didn't work. Double whammy. I like this guy more and more now, actually. Rather than scramble and try to add another layer and double down on the bad fix, we're going to roll back the change and go back to the drawing board. Still going to make a change to the raid and to the characters enable the Critolite team. However, whatever that change is, we'll test it in-house more rigorously and announce to you with more lead time what that change is coming. If we have to make a change to a character, we'll have an open conversation about how we preserve the investment made by the people that are significantly negatively affected by that change. Thank you for being understanding of the situation and working with us to build a better solution. Got to give him credit to where credit's due. And I'm actually, I'm not a corporate shill for EA or Capital Games. My videos are not censored. I get to say what I want. And that being said, I'm really proud to be involved with this game and this process actually worked and they listened to the community. I really strongly believe that because I've worked with other games that don't do this and don't care. And even if I don't agree with them 100% of the time, there's a couple things I want to say is like, I did know that they didn't like infinite loops. They communicated that. I know that they don't like the way the paper zombie. And so I kind of expected these changes. Now, the way that they made the changes with this was not satisfactory. And then they acknowledged that. And I do think they should fix the infinite loop. I think infinite loops are not fun. I mean, when you get the combo going and then you just stare at your phone and it just goes and there's no interaction, is not the intention of the game. And especially with endgame content. It may come down a year from now or 6 months from now, that might be okay. But right now, this is new content. It's meant to be challenging. And Treya is really that amazing where she should be earned and hard to get, frankly, in my opinion. So don't know what their changes are going to be made, but I still think that they should make changes and that this does need to be fixed. And if they can fix it in a way that does not negatively impact the investment of everybody that has been farming and working on Nightsisters, especially people that are in guilds that are not quite able to get Treya. They're working on getting their roster ready to be competitive in the Sith heroic raid, because that's very hard and requires a lot of coordination. It's in-game content, absolutely. The other thing I want to say is before this was posted, it's strange. I actually was on the phone with McMole too, and the conversation went, I actually said to him, I was like, I am very certain that they're going to listen and change this. They've done that a couple times in the past, and I won't go into details, but when something is really off, they listen. I can think all the way back to mods. They changed that. With the Captain Han Solo and the 5 and 7 stars, they changed that. Even though there are things that I disagree with in the game, this is right. I just really like the process that they actually listened. Maybe it was a little bit rushed. That's fine, but they actually listened. This guy right here, top hat, nice guy. He had to type this up, and I think he was very plain in the changes he make. So I welcome all this, and whatever their changes that they eventually decide on, I probably will go along with it. I mean, I'm always skeptical, but if I'm pretty sure they're aware of the reasons why the community was upset. And that was reflected from not only Reddit, comment sections on YouTube's, their forums, but also all the feedback that I got directly from people that watched the videos, the comment section. They actually read all of that. And I want to thank everyone that did comment on the video that I did on Saturday, because those comments were directly forwarded to the developers. So they do listen. I know a lot of people feel like that they don't listen, but I strongly do feel that they listen. So good stuff. Yay, EA. I'm not going to say that I'm an early EA cheerleader, though. But I really do like the game, and I do love Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and keep on gaming.